Hey guys, it's Elaine, and this is our update on where things are within the coming of nighttime, aka ATCON. As you can see, the first page here is the front matter of the book. In other words, that's the part of the book before you get into the story. It deals with things like acknowledgments, any legalities and whatnot, and I'm working on the published by page. I had to change the information when I was first doing this. I was living at a different address and I had a different editor. That person is no longer my editor, and I'm not going to go into that. And I also originally edited that page in Microsoft Word, which is why certain things came out with little red lines, because Microsoft Word doesn't want to acknowledge my last name and a few other things. So I had to redo that. I was going to have to redo that page anyway, and I decided to get it done and lock it in, and I decided to leave the artwork at the top as it is. As for the rest of the book, right now, as of this video, I was working on page 10, and page 10 was a bit of a quandary. I must have redone it and redone it and redone it about 5 or 6 times before I finally put my hands up and just redrew it. The problem was that the second panel, which is the full face panel of Dr. Stephen Durant, who is a very important character for this book. He's our main character's husband. He's the guy who ends up turning himself into a werewolf. I had gotten the face wrong, and you'll see it when we get into the part where right now you should be seeing the sketchbook. You'll see me with the new drawing in Sketchbook Pro, which is what I did after I couldn't fix things digitally. I just got up and redrew that page and realized there were a couple of things beyond just his face that had to be refixed. So I went and did a redo. But his face was the big thing. The nose wasn't right, and no matter how many times I tried to fix the nose, then the mouth ended up wrong. And of course, if the mouth was wrong, the jaw was wrong. And no matter what I did, I couldn't fix it. So I finally just redrew it, rescanned it, and reworked the drawing in Sketchbook Pro, which is what you're going to see me doing. I'm laying in the flats in Sketchbook Pro because for some reason I can't get the paint bucket tool in Clip Studio Paint to work quite right. I don't know what I did. I broke my paint bucket tool. If I click the big one at the top, in the top bar, it just fills the whole page. And if I click the small one, it doesn't do anything. I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong. And I will probably sit down and watch a tutorial this weekend to see where I've gone wrong. But right now I've got pages to do, and we're doing page 10. And page 10 is important. The reason I kept doing it because it is very important. The prior pages give you an overall view of what that lab is. But this page specifically, and the pages that follow, set the physical tone for the book. What colors for this stage of the book are we doing? What the feel and look of the book is going to be at this stage. And so I really wanted to get it right. And my inner perfectionist, was screaming at my inner child going, "You can't do this right, you can't do this right." And my adult had to finally get up and say, "Okay, shut up, the two of you. You go over here, you go over there, and now leave me alone and let me draw." Which I finally got around to doing. And I did the base colors. As I said, I did all the basic colors in Sketchbook Pro, and then made a big mistake. I thought I was saving it in Photoshop, and as a Photoshop file, which would have allowed me to pull it over into Clip Studio Paint with all the layers intact, so that if I wanted to make changes to the background, I could make changes to the background or foreground without disturbing one or the other. Turns out I must have did it wrong, because when I got it in Clip Studio Paint, it was like, what layers? This is all one layer, and you can't draw on it. And that ended up giving me a whole new set of challenges, especially since I couldn't draw on that layer. The artwork that I scanned in, well, the artwork that I imported into Clip Studio Paint by that point. What I had to do was set that as a reference layer so that I could take the colors from that layer to work on. Thing about that was I had to keep going back to that layer, click on the reference layer, then go into the colors, get the eyedropper, hit where I wanted to get the color from, and then go back into layers and then move back to the layer that I was working on. It kind of slowed things down, which kind of made me a little crazy. But, you know, you deal with what you deal with because that's the thing. But then I also had to remind myself the way comics are typically drawn is it's a team. You have a writer who sits down and comes up with the story and the script that he then hands over to the rest of the team. And the editor at this point steps in, making suggestions on stories, making sure that this month's issue is consistent with what happened last month in the storyline and what's supposed to come afterwards, and talking to the writer about making any adjustments. The penciler, the inker, the colorer, and the letterer, they also, at this point, are giving their 2 cents. Once they've sat down with the editor and the editor has approved the story, the writer puts together a final script that is then given to each of the team members. It is then the penciler's job to do their initial pencil drawings, and then from there it goes to the inker, the colorer, and I don't know why you do the colors after the ink. To me, it makes more sense to lay in the colors and then ink. I don't do a lot of heavy ink lines and whatnot because I suck at that. I did not grow up drawing comic book characters the way a lot of the guys I knew and a lot of the younger women that are out there did. I didn't do that. I was trained as a gallery artist, I guess, is the way to say it. I had teachers dragging me through galleries saying, look at this, look at this. I was, you know, and anytime I tried to do like copy a Frazetta piece and go, oh, look, I'm trying to figure out how to draw like Frazetta. They go, no, that's not real art. Yo, look at Rembrandt. That's real art. Look at Picasso. So I'm not as confident in my inking, so you won't find a lot of inking in this style. But then, and I used to worry about that. In fact, that's one of the reasons I put off finishing this book, was because I was so, let's say, less than confident about my skills as a comic book artist. And then I had to go and look at other graphic novels, not just things like Watchmen by Alan Moore and his team, but also, excuse me, seeing things like what Fran Menzies has done and other people, and realizing you don't have to draw like the guys at Marvel and DC or Image and whatnot. You can create your own style, which is basically what I've done. I'm sitting there going, okay, I don't draw like the guys at Marvel and DC and Image and whatnot, and none of those guys draw like the old guys drew. Jack Kirby was the artist I grew up on watching as a kid. When I was reading early Marvel, those guys who were doing the DCs and the Marvels, they're not doing it anymore. And the guys who have come up after them, a couple of them will do things sometimes that's reminiscent of Kirby's style. And Kirby did some serious inking. If you ever look at Jack Kirby's artwork, boy, that dude inked like nothing else. But and there are some guys who will do work that's reminiscent of that, but it's still not his work. It's sort of their version of his work. But it was, but I realized I'm not Jack Kirby. I'm not Barry Windsor Smith. I'm not any of those guys. I'm Elaine. And so I'm doing it my way with the best of my abilities. And I'm hoping that it'll be something in the end that people will want to see. But for the moment, here is page 10. After all the struggling and headache, I got it done. And as of now, I've also gotten page 11 done. But that's going to be the subject of the next video. And so as of when this video is on, I will have moved on to page 12 and 13, which are a transformation scene. And I don't want to give up more than that. I'm not going to talk about the style of the transformation or anything. I will probably do a video on it, just because it was a tricky scene for me to do just the pencils on. And it's going to be interesting to see what the final version of that's going to be. So I'm kind of looking forward to getting the work done. Now that I've got page 10 and page 11 done, I'm getting back into what I call my groove. I am fully in drawing mode in regards to, every day I get up and I'm thinking about, okay, I need to work on this, this, and this, or did I get this quite done? I should check out what so-and-so has done, because they had a thing about lighting and I want to go look at it again. So when I sit down and do this 2-page spread, I can get that done correctly. And I love that, because my mind is now fully in the project and I'm constantly thinking about the project. I am not easily thinking about other things beyond basic household stuff. But in regards to work mode, I am thinking about the project, and that is not just the art. But as you'll see in the final piece at the end, it's also the narration and the dialogue. And are those balloons too big? And all those other questions. And some of those questions I will figure out on my own, and some of them I'm going to have to wait until I submit the book to Comixology or Image and say, hey, I've got this book and I really love it if you would, either distribute or publish it for me. Still working that out about what I want to do with that. And as soon as I make a final decision, you guys will know. The only thing I can say for sure, I am more than likely going to put out a Kindle edition of And the Coming of Nighttime, just because Clip Studio Paint allows you to do that. Because I looked at the Kindle comic book maker. Oh my goodness, that is just a nightmare. But Clip Studio Paint has the function that lets you put out a Kindle-friendly version. And I'm hoping that their Kindle-friendly version and the new KDP will work well together, and I'll be able to have something that people can see. But like I said, that's a few months down the line. Right now, I have set a goal for myself of trying to get anywhere between 15 to 25 pages done a month, in the hopes that I will then have the book done by the end of January, which will be good, because I also have to get, once the book is done, at least 2/3 of the way, though I really needed to get it finished. It has to go to beta readers. And of course, once my beta crew has checked it out, and no, I haven't picked them out yet, once the beta crew has gotten through it, then it's got to go into editing. And then once it's gone through the editing, then it's in the submission process. And, hopefully I can get all of that done before WakandaCon next year. And, so yes, I've set quite the goal. And so, but that's part of the journey. You set a goal and then you get up and, you start doing it. It's like they say in the Tao, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Every day is a step. And if I leave you with nothing else, that's what I want to encourage you with. Whatever you're doing out there that you're putting your creativity to, every day is a step. Every day you get up. If you draw a finger today, you've made a step. If you draw an eyeball, you've made a step. Let every day be a step. And before you know it, you've reached your destination, and hopefully you've had quite a journey along the way. And thank you for being part of my journey. I will say, if you like this video, please like it. If you love it, hey, sub it. And, you can find me on Facebook, Elaine Haygood. You can also look for And the Coming of Nighttime or Lens Cap Productions, LLC at Facebook. I will list the links to those, at least my page there, and then from my page you can go find the other pages. I'm also Lens Capper 1 and Twitter. No, I'm not on Instagram. I don't have the time. I just don't. I wish I did have time to do all the social media that's out there, but I don't. And so I'm sticking to what I have. And no, I haven't even blogged yet, and I'm hoping to get that done either tomorrow or Friday, because today is Wednesday. And tomorrow's when this video goes up. But anyway, I've been yakking for over 15 minutes now, so I'm going to stop. I'm going to let you have some music, and you have a great day. Oh, as always, if you have any questions about what I'm doing, who my influences are, if there's information you want to know about the project, the process, leave something in the comments. Ask me a question. I will answer. I will answer, even if it's, a no, you don't have the right to answer me that question. I will give you some sort of answer, but until then, have a good one. Be kind to yourselves, be kind to each other, bye.